F# is a new language that ships with Visual Studio 2010. It is based on the functional OCaml language. F# is largely a functional language, though it has traces of object orientation and imperative languages too. Writing safe concurrent programs has become a concern recently, as multi-core CPUs have become widespread. Functional language helps support concurrency by encouraging the use of immutable data structures that can be passed between threads and machines without worrying about thread safety or concurrency. I'm going to show you a brief demo of the F# editor here inside Visual Studio. I've already opened a project called F# Editor. I'm going to double-click on this program.fs file. You might guess that fs stands for F#. That means that this file contains F# code. So I'll double-click, and this is the editor. I'm going to use the printfn function to print information out to the console. I'm also going to use this #light compiler flag, which makes it a little bit easier to write the F# code. This means I don't have to end the line of code with the : syntax, which is the normal way of doing that. On the other hand, it means that indentation takes more significance. The way you indent your code is more important when you use the #light switch. So I'm going to use the open keyword to resolve namespaces so that I can do things like system.console.writeLine. This means I could leave off the system prefix if necessary. It's kind of like the imports or using statements in Visual Basic and C#. I'm going to print out to the console the word hello, or I can use the system.console.writeLine mechanism for doing that. That's familiar. Again, if you're comfortable with .NET classes, this code should look familiar to you. Next, I'm going to declare a variable. So the let keyword allows me to do that in F#. There are some differences. Variables are immutable in F#, which means that once you declare the variable and you load the initial data into it, you can't change it anymore. But that also makes it thread safe. So on line 21, what I'm doing is I'm declaring a variable called age. I'm doing a mathematical addition there, 34 plus 2. Notice that I don't have to put anything special on the end of the line here because of that #light compiler flag I had up there. And then once this variable is declared, I can use it. Now, if I try to do something like age equal 80, I'll get a blue squiggle. I'm getting a kind of useless message here. It says the expression should have a type of unit, but it has a type of bool. Basically, it's saying you can't assign another value to this. If I try to use the let keyword, I'll get a different squiggle. This time it's telling me I've already declared a variable called age, and you need to come up with a new name. So let me comment this out, and we'll continue. So next, I write out, enter your full name, and then I'm going to use the console.read line to read the contents and store them in this variable. And then I'm going to print them out, and I'm going to use this %s as a token and this %d as a token to say, take the full name here and place it within the string where this token is. And then also do the same thing with age and place it here. All right, does that make sense? Let me show you one other feature that a lot of people really like about F# is that functions are first-class citizens, and you can declare them in line and then pass them around as arguments elsewhere in your code. For instance, you can create a function and then pass that in as an argument to another function. So what I'm doing on line 37 is I'm declaring a function called calculate sales tax. And then I'm saying that this function expects to have two incoming parameters, sale and tax. And then on the right side of the equal sign, I'm writing the code that's part of that function. I'm saying multiply sales by tax. Now I can come down here and run that function that I just declared by using its name and then passing these two arguments in. Notice that I'm not separating those with commas. I'm just passing them in. That's a common metaphor in F#, not using commas here. There's an alternative syntax down here on line 42 where I say let calculate total sale, and then I can use what's called a tuple, an ordered set of items, by using the parentheses here. I'm saying I have an argument called sale and an argument called commission, and then again, just like before, I write the code for the function on the other side of the equal sign. And then I call it the same as before, but now because I declared it like this, I can pass the arguments in with a comma separating them. You want to see this run? I do. I'm also going to put a breakpoint right here by pressing F9. I'll go up to the debug menu and choose Start Debugging. Go ahead and say yes to save these changes. You can see I put a few items to the console. I'll enter my name. I do the string concatenation, and then I press enter, and you can see I just hit my breakpoint back here. I have a section on working with breakpoints and debugging, but right now I'm just going to step through my code by clicking on this step button. And notice what happened. I declared this function up on line 37. I'm running line 39, but you can see it just stepped back and is showing me I'm running this code up here, sale times tax, which should be a value of 4 if I hover over that. And this one has a value of 5. Then I'm going to press this step into a couple more times, and then I'll hover over the total, and you'll see that that has a value of 20. So you see that these inline functions work exactly the same as if they were regular functions. Learning a new language is a great way to appreciate your current programming language. I think F# is a great candidate to look at for your next language. What do you think about giving it a go?